வணக்கம் எமது டிஇடி கலையகத்தில் இன்று பேட்ரிக் பிரவுன் தனது இந்த பிரச்சார நேரம் குறுகிய நேரத்தில் அடிப்படையிலும் டிஇடியின் அழைப்பின் பேரில் தனது ஒரு 10-15 நிமிடத்தையாவது எமது கலையகத்துக்கு ஒதுக்கி தமிழ் மக்களுக்கு தனது செய்திகளை கொண்டு செல்ல வேண்டும் என்பதற்காக எமது கலையகத்துக்கு வந்திருக்கின்றார். இதற்கு நாங்கள் முதற்கன் அவருக்கு நன்றி தெரிவிக்க வேண்டும். அடுத்தது நாங்கள் எமது கேள்விகளும் மட்டுப்படுத்தப்பட்ட கேள்விகளாகவும் ஹைலைட்டான கேள்விகளாகத்தான் கேட்கப் போகின்றோம். Here we have Patrick Brown, Mayor of Brampton with us. Mayor Patrick Brown is seeking the leadership race for the Conservative Party of Canada, and I have the opportunity to interview him so that he could explain why he is running and what he could do different to help our community and other communities as well. Patrick, thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview.
Well, I am going to get Canada back on track. I want to make Canada a job-creating engine where we respect jobs in every sector, in every corner of this country. I want to lead a government that is based on low taxes and less red tape. We need to support Canadian businesses and frankly understand that if you have a strong economy, you have the ability to invest in all the great programs you want to, but you need to have an economy that is taking off, an economy that is growing. I want to have a climate where businesses and want to invest again, grow again, hire again, and that's going to be my focus. At the same time, I believe Canada must always be on the side of human rights and justice, and so for communities that have fled persecution, like the Tamil community, I think I have a track record that speaks that I am an ally and a champion to stand up for the persecuted.
Patrick, I would like to translate what you have said so far. Yes, I have a question for that. Your recent statement about removing the ban on LTTE, can you elaborate on it?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Canada made a mistake in the years leading up to 2009. They took the wrong side. Canada should have been there helping defend the voiceless, the persecuted. The Tamil community faced a government that was committing heinous war crimes, atrocities. The genocide in Sri Lanka was one of the worst acts in our modern times. And I look at the Tamil community that overcame that adversity, and I say, Canada needs to stand with you. The European Union lifted the ban. Why is Canada not? And frankly, it's still posing problems for family reunification. It's for professional development. It continues to stigmatize Tamil Canadians, and that's not right. And so that needs to be lifted right away. And frankly, there are still many Tamils in Sri Lanka that face oppression, that face adversity. And my goal would be those that continue to face persecution, they'd be welcome in Canada. Just like we're offering expedited refugee streams in other parts of the world, we should offer the same thing for those facing oppression in Sri Lanka.
Removing the ban on LTTE. நான் இவரிடம் முன்வைத்த கேள்வி என்னவென்றால், சமீபத்தில் இவர் அறிக்கை ஒன்று விட்டிருந்தார். தமிழீழ விடுதலை புலிகளின் தடையை தான் எடுப்பதாக ஒரு ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் ஒன்று விட்டிருந்தார். அதுக்கு அவர் சொன்ன மறுமொழி தான் பதவியேற்றவுடன் இந்த தமிழீழ விடுதலை புலிகளுக்கு எதிராக இருக்கும் அந்த தடையை தான் நீக்குவதாகவும், முன்னே இந்த அரசாங்கம் தமிழர்களுக்கு ஒரு அநீதியை இழைத்து விட்டதாகவும் கூறியிருக்கின்றார். இமிகிரேஷனை பொறுத்தவரையில் அது ஒரு முக்கியமான விடயமாக பார்ப்பதாகவும், எமது உறவுகளை நாங்கள் தாயகத்திலிருந்து ஸ்பான்சர் பண்ணுறதுக்கான பேக்லாக் கணக்கு இருக்கின்றது. அதனை தான் நிவர்த்தி செய்ய போவதாகவும், எவ்வளவு இலகுவான வழியில் சகோதரங்களாக இருக்கட்டும், தாய் தந்தையாக இருக்கட்டும், குழந்தைகளாக இருக்கட்டும், எல்லாரையும் இலகுவாக கனடாவுக்கு அழைத்து வருவதற்கான வேலை திட்டங்களை தான் முன்னெடுக்கப் போவதாகவும் கூறியிருந்தார். And will you be offering once you get in power? Immediately. Okay, now let's talk about Canadian economy-wise. The gas. Do you agree with me that we are sitting on the world's largest proven oil reserve in the world?
Yeah, and I want to celebrate Canadian energy. Right now, I see Justin Trudeau, and he's attacking the Canadian energy sector. I find it senseless that here in Ontario, when I go to fill up the gas tank, I have to buy gas that comes from from Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, more recently even Russia. The environmental standards in Canada are much higher. The labor standards in Canada are much higher. It's time we support the Canadian energy sector. They're good paying jobs. I want to be a wealth generator for Canada. So this government that blocks pipelines, puts red tape and barriers on, and new taxes again and again and again, stop it. I'm going to be a prime minister that supports the Canadian energy sector.
கனடா வந்து உலகிலேயே எண்ணெய் வளம் கொண்ட ஒரு நாடு. ஆனால் நாங்கள் ஒவ்வொரு வருடமும் கிட்டத்தட்ட எவ்வளோ பில்லியன் டாலர்ஸுக்கான எண்ணெயை நாங்கள் ஏற்றுமதி செய்கின்றோம். எங்களிடம் இந்த வளங்கள் இருந்து அதுக்கு வேலை வாய்ப்புகள் இருக்கின்றன. ஏன் நாங்கள் இந்த எண்ணெய் ஏற்றுமதி செய்ய வேண்டும் என்பதற்கான நல்ல விளம்பர ஒரு விளக்கம் தந்திருக்கின்றார். இங்கே இருக்கின்ற எண்ணெய் குதங்களை திரும்ப இயக்கப் போவதாகவும் வேலை வாய்ப்புகள் அதிகப்படுத்த போவதாகவும் அவர் கூறியிருந்தார். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நேஷனை பொறுத்தவரையில் 73% மக்களுக்கு சரியான குடிநீர் இல்லை. அதுவும் தாங்கள் அதற்கான அதை நிவர்த்தி செய்வதற்கான வழிமுறைகளை தான் கட்டாயம் எடுக்கப் போவதாக பேட்ரிக் ப்ரவுன் கூறியிருக்கின்றார். So will you be killing the bill C-69 or will you be putting a cap on it?
Every bill that obstructs our ability to support the Canadian energy sector will be repealed. I want to build pipelines. I want to make sure that we can be wealth generators for our own country. The days of being wealth generators for Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and Russia are over. We're going to support the Canadian energy sector.
Okay, now the other question that I have is, let's go with our First Nation. The water crisis, 73% of the water system are at risk of contamination.
It's a tragedy that Justin Trudeau promised 7 years ago that he'd make sure there is potable water in every Indigenous reserve in the country. He has broken his word. He has lied to Indigenous Canadians, and we need to we need to clean up that mess. I want to make sure that there is quality water supply in every corner of this country, and no Indigenous reserve should have to deal with boil water advisories in this day and age. Canada is a prosperous country. We must do better by our Indigenous communities.
And also they are facing 5 more problems, such as health issues and lower education and higher unemployment rate and higher suicides. And where do you stand on that? How can you curb on that?
Well, I want to make sure the government of Canada is there to support, to help, to create opportunities. What I see is a willingness to create prosperity, a willingness to succeed, but we need to make sure the government is there as a partner.
And this has been going for decades and decades. And Conservative Party have ruled Canada for decades and decades. And they couldn't fix it. And how can you fix it?
Well, I'm determined to fix it. I'm determined to make sure there is economic opportunity and prosperity and a hand up for Indigenous communities.
When you go for poverty, 4.9 million people are under poverty line. And how can you fix that? The poverty is also affecting our economy as well.
The best way to combat poverty is to create a job. And I'm going to create an economy where businesses of all sizes, small businesses, big businesses, or businesses can grow again, invest again, hire again. If you have an economy that is unleashed, where you can grow, you can do wonderful things, and it is the greatest economic equalizer. It's the greatest financial equalizer, is to make sure that there's a competition for jobs, and everyone that wants to work can.
And do you think that oil industry and IT industry are well-paid jobs worldwide?
There's certainly well-paid jobs in the IT sector, in the energy sector. Those are certainly sectors that we can continue to see growth and employment.
And do you think that you can, if you have problems with the First Nation to bring the pipeline to east to west, will you be considering putting a rail to transport oil from east to west?
I'm going to make sure that we build pipelines, and we're going to do that in a collaborative manner. But Canada needs to have a national energy corridor.
And also housing, that's the biggest one of the issues Canadians are facing right now. So how can you tackle that? What I see is foreign investors, they're investing in houses here. They're buying houses and they're leaving, and after 3 years they're selling the house and they make money out of it. Justin Trudeau recently announced for 2 years no one can buy houses here. So will you stop that, or how do you want to deal with that?
So I think right now you're just seeing changes on the periphery. What we really need to do is more supply. There's more demand than there is supply, and there's too much red tape. It takes 5, 6, 7 years to build new housing supply. We need to build housing supply in this country, and frankly, the red tape and bureaucracy is holding that up. And I'm determined to create affordability through competition to make sure that you don't have 10 people trying to buy the same single home. We need to create competition.
And what about taxing for foreigners in the housing?
So listen, 1% of foreign ownership is of housing market is foreign ownership. If they want to put a tax on, which they have, that's fine. But that's not going to solve the problem. We need, if you really want to solve the problem, you need to create more competition. You need supply, and right now there is an imbalance between demand and supply.
So okay, the most important question is immigration. There are a lot of people who couldn't bring our parents and our kids to Canada. So this is backlog. There are a lot of backlog. So how do you want
Right
to?
now, there is the longest backlog and the longest wait times in Canadian history. Justin Trudeau has mismanaged the immigration system, and I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to make sure we don't have backlogs. I'm going to make sure that we don't see delays in family reunification. And frankly, I'm going to expand our immigration system. I want to make sure that where there are shortages, for example, in the skilled trades or transportation logistics, we have the capacity through immigration to fill the voids in our economy. And right now, there are major economic development projects that are on hold because of a shortage in immigration, a shortage in skilled labor.
Okay, and for the who have been qualified, doctors or teachers from overseas, it's very hard for them to get a job here because we had to go through a lot of process and it takes a long time. So is there any way that you can tackle that one?
Yeah, I've made a campaign commitment already that we're going to try to expedite foreign credential recognition. I don't want people who have talent in the country not able to use it. And there's too many stories of nurses and doctors and engineers not able to use their God-given talent in Canada. I want to take a chainsaw to the bureaucracy that holds that back.
Okay, the one important question, the last one, the creeping problem of Canadian pension benefit. All these years we have been looking into triangle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working, I'm paying the pension, and after 65 we are claiming it. But nowadays we see that small youngsters, they are not paying, they are not into paying into pension plans. They're going out of track. So how do you want to bring them into the pension
Well,
plan?
I'd have to look more into that. I haven't heard about young people not participating in the Canadian pension plan. Certainly in Brampton.
Yeah, because this is going to be a big issue, not for now, for their generation. Since say for example, my son, if he doesn't pay pension at this time, when he gets 65, and they will be.
So we're not seeing that. At least I know where I am in Brampton, but I'd have to look more into that.
Okay, because since you don't have enough time, I have a lot of things to ask, and I know that you are a very busy person on your campaign trail, and I would like to finish off with these questions that's important for our Canadian people right now. And there are a lot of questions that I have to ask you, but since we don't have enough time, and I would like to finish off with this one, and I would like you to take 2 minutes and tell our Tamil community what you want to do especially for our community.
Well, to the Tamil community, I hope you get involved in this leadership campaign. Just like I fought for the community on a municipal level and a provincial level, I will fight for the community on a national level. If you want to join the campaign, you can go to fighterleaderwinner.ca. That's fighterleaderwinner.ca, and you have until June 3rd to sign up a membership. Well, first of all, I want to say that Canada made a mistake in the years leading up to 2009. They took the wrong side. Canada should have been there helping defend the voiceless, the persecuted. The Tamil community faced a government that was committing heinous war crimes, atrocities. The genocide in Sri Lanka was one of the worst acts in our modern times. Thank you so much. Thank you, Balan, for having me on. Okay.
Thank you very much for showing up in this critical timeline for you.
Okay.
And I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll meet you once again.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
okay.
you.